Hello, fam. Welcome back to our little corner of the internet. We do have some updates on a terrorist attack in New Orleans. We do have a little bit of breaking news. We'll go ahead on and take a look at it.
On today's deadly massacre in New Orleans, at least 10 people are dead after a man driving a truck plowed through a crowd celebrating New Year's Eve on Bourbon Street. More than 30 others are injured. Officials now calling it an act of terrorism.
The suspect, identified as Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. citizen from Texas. Investigators have found weapons and explosives, and they don't believe that he acted alone.
Yeah, we're joined now by ABC's Aaron Katersky. Aaron, you've been on top of this story all day long. It's kind of disturbing. This is not a lone wolf case as far as the FBI is concerned. Why do they think that they're dealing with more people?
And it's so unusual. Ordinarily, the FBI is quick to point out, if they can, that it's a lone wolf attack. But here, they're saying there may be a range of other suspects involved, and the deceased suspect who drove the truck was not solely responsible. Why do they believe that? They have looked at surveillance images, we're told, and they see what appears to be some people possibly planting devices in advance of the attack. Some of those people may turn out to be.
My question is right now, New Orleans is supposed to host the new Super Bowl this year. Is this something to take the attention elsewhere to allow them to be able to plant things in other places? I think that the state of Louisiana needs to go on high alert and try to prevent anything from happening. Louisiana has Mardi Gras as well as the Super Bowl this year. That is the opportunity for them to take out a massive amount of people at one time.
Be bystanders, but they want to run them down, identify them just to be sure.
And in that surveillance video, there was mention of 3 possible men, 1 woman. What does it do in terms of the concern of a greater threat, that there are co-conspirators or people working together?
You know, the authorities didn't necessarily spell it out, but the Sugar Bowl was postponed. And with all of that police act.
Again, I totally forgot about the Sugar Bowl, forgot it was still college season. Again, this is where Louisiana has so many events that goes on yearly that there's a plethora of opportunities for these people to still be able to go through with the action that we're planning.
Activity. They found, we're told, crude homemade pipe bombs with nails and coils. What they're finding, the potential of other suspects, all that police work to do, they have to assure public safety. So they postpone the Sugar Bowl. That gives you a sense of how urgently they're looking for these other individuals.
Yeah, and right now, really, a lot of it surrounds the motive of what would be behind this. Immediately after the attack, there was speculation by even some public officials that it was a migrant or an immigrant that was. But now we're hearing that the suspect in this case is a U.S. citizen born in Texas, a U.S. Army veteran, and someone who then, when you looked at the truck, they said on the back of that truck was an ISIS flag.
Really evocative of the Sayfullah Saipov attack on Halloween, what, 2017?
2017,
and
right.
With the same thing, pickup truck, ISIS flag. And here it gave the authorities an early clue about what they were dealing with, and right away New Orleans police were able to look at the flag and say, okay, they called the FBI. The FBI is now the lead. They know this was an act of terrorism, whether it meets the legal definition ultimately or not. That's what the police said it was, and it gave them an understanding of what this attack involved. But it's 3 prongs, straight out of an ISIS playbook, if that is in fact where the suspect got the idea. A vehicle ramming, gunfire, improvised explosives.
And now the deep dive will happen into how he might have been radicalized. He was killed in a police shootout, so we won't be able to obviously ask him, but that will be something that authorities are going to try to figure out.
And that is already underway, Lauren, because they are investigating relatives, family members, maybe former family members, to try and run down who this guy was and what may have happened in his life to get him down this path.
We have no more time, but I mean, the other element to all of this is the security failure that happened. There had had been FBI warnings across the country that there may be a similar attack. We had seen that attack in Germany recently. It's happened before here in New York City.
Yes.
And now we learned that the bollards, those metal barriers that were supposed to protect vehicles from getting into Bourbon Street, were not installed because they were fixing them?
They were fixing them. They had hoped to have them in place by the Super Bowl. That's where they got the money to fix the things that weren't working. So they put a police cruiser in front of Bourbon Street from Canal Street. The truck driver simply steered around it onto the sidewalk. It is a security failure, and the police admitted as much.
All right, so they admitted it was a security failure. Of course, no, most of the time they won't accept that, but in this case they did. My question is, will New Orleans still host the Super Bowl? Will New Orleans still have Mardi Gras this year? One of the things that brings a lot of the money to New Orleans is Mardi Gras, festivals, and every so often they'll have the big events like the Super Bowl, NCAA matches, things of that nature. The Smoothie King Arena is always hosting concerts, so it's always things going on in that area. But my question to you now is, and comment below, do you think that New Orleans will still host the Super Bowl this year?